Hello, everybody. It's me again, Brian, the Music Man. And as you can see on the title, UltiMuse 3, putting the score to the CoCo. So I've got a score, a piece of music here that I downloaded, just one sheet, and just going to kind of go over a little bit and show some of the things they do. And of course, I'm sinking down a little bit because my chair wants to go down. And I don't like that. It's got a weak cylinder. But other than that, everything's doing good. So, let's get on with the show here. And as you can see right there, that's the sheet of music that we will be playing with here. And we will see exactly what happens here. I'm trying to get this in. I'm not going to have this all up here, but I just wanted to show just a few things here about what's going on here. Well, obviously it's a piece of music, a score on sheet. It has two treble and a bass clef, and it's, as you can see, it's set up for flute, violin, and a cello. And for those of you who are fairly active in music or understand a little bit about music theory, you've got all sorts of different notes here. A lot of them are dotted, which means that take half of the size of the note and add on for the timing and all that. A lot of tying in together of notes to kind of make a note slide a little bit in tonation, going across. And all sorts of interesting things here and that. I'm just going to point out a couple things here. It's in the standard 4/4 time. It's called The Witch's Hill. It's an old Scottish song that I just decided to pick that seemed fairly interesting. And you need to take a look at the score here a little bit and kind of plan out how you're going to take this piece of music and get it into UltiMuse. So, if we take a look here, see on the bass clef that we have a minimum of 2 notes, as in chords, on here. So far on this part here, you want to have at least 2, if not 3 parts on this part of the staff. And also you can see on the second treble clef for the violin, you've got on some of here you have double notes up, so you need at least 2. I would actually recommend 3. And this top for the flute, since a flute is a single noted instrument, meaning that it officially can only play 1 note at a time, you only need just 1. I would recommend putting 2 there because sometimes for some piece of music you can actually enhance the sound by taking the whole piece for the top part of the score here on this top staff, and after you're done, you can copy the whole thing. You can copy it into the other part, apply a different volume setting to it, so it's either a little bit louder or a little bit softer, or change the octave a little bit, so that instead of being at a standard middle C, it could be an octave higher in that, or lower in that, depending upon the type of instrument that you use. And so you can actually take all the same notes, but played on different instruments on different channels in that. And like I said, this is a standard piece of notation in 4/4 time. And if you take a look here at this here, it looks like this piece here. I haven't heard this piece of music before, but it looks like on the first go around, you play these 5 measures, and then it repeats those 5 measures, and then it drops down to the second part, and it plays this then and goes down and completes. And this thin and thick line, that's the finish line, indicating that is the final ending of the score. So, as I pointed out, we're going to set up UltiMuse so that in the layout we go with two sets of notes. The same here, at least two. I would recommend three. You can just simply ignore one of them. And then the same thing on this bottom one here. I would also recommend three, because what you can sometimes do, you can take and you can actually split these two channels into two different channels. You can either split the notes so that the top one could be, say, going to a slap bass, and the lower one could be going to a wood bass instrument, and you can actually set it as an octave lower so it's a deeper throbbing sound if you want to do that. Or what I like to do is that you just have the first two, and then you just copy just one of these rows of notes and run it onto the third part. So, but without any further ado, let's take a look at UltiMuse here, and you'll be able to see. So I'll be entering in from over here. I like it showed. Got the paper. And that's so. Let's go here. Knock that down here. And here we go. There's my CoCo. What do you know? Got my CoCo already going here. And I'm just going to take and shift over to the CoCo here. And let's start up UltiMuse. It's just my little way of getting UltiMuse started here. And here we go. Got UltiMuse started up. So, first thing that we want to do, obviously, we want to select make a new score. Yes, let's do that. Use the prompts. Okay, so like in the if you take a look in if you took a look in the on this sheet, there's going to be 3 staffs on the score. So the first one and the second one will both be treble. So it asks how many parts. Well, we're going to do 2 parts on that one. You can always add more parts later. The second staff is going to also be treble. That one's going to be 3 parts. And then the bass clef will be for the third, and that's also going to be 3 parts. And yes, and there we go. Okay, so now we already have the signatures, time signature already set up, and the sheet, if you take a look right over here, that shows that there's one flat. That's a little B looking character. And there's only one of them, which indicates the key, one flat. I can't remember what that is. So we need to take and set up the key signature, and just one, -1, and there we go. We've got that, and we've got all the other notes set up here. And looking at, so 1 flat, 2 treble staffs, and a bass, 4/4 time, and away we go. So setting up the layout in UltiMuse is actually quite simple. you have to know a little bit of what's going on, and we're not going to go into all the notation that's built onto the or in the score at the moment, but you'll be able to see that a little bit more a little bit later. So, since we've got the staff ready, the time signature ready, the key signature is ready, all the parts are set, we can click ready. Common 4/4 time, yes. And there we go. We are now set. Now, one of the things that with UltiMuse, it's loaded everything in with a rest. There's no actual notes. If I press a button to play something, it's going to be total silence because there's no actual notes. So, what is done is what's called chipping. So if we were to take a look at the first note, which is an eighth note, if you press the 8, you notice that this changed to the flag. And that's so. Well, this is going to be the end of this particular video for video 1. I'm going to do a little bit of resetting up here a little bit, and I'm going to also show the the sheet music on the screen so you can kind of follow along a little bit easier in that. So, end of video 1. I will be back shortly.